Somnia started hyping us all up a few months ago with trailers that showed off not only a very beautiful game, but a game that advertised it used completely different locomotion than anything we had tried before. They advertised that you forget buttons and you use gestures. Just 5 days ago, they dropped a taste of the game, which is completely free on App Lab that you can check out right now. This is an early access version that's only including the first level of the game for now, so you can get a taste of what it's like. And with only being out for 5 days, it's only got 2 ratings so far. Those 2 ratings, of course, both being 5 stars, 100%, the best game ever, and this game is awesome. I will say, after having personally tried and played through the demo, it is an unusual locomotion style, and it feels very intuitive when you're trying to just move around, walk, fly, jump on your own. Once you get into a fight, it does suddenly become more complicated because you're trying to continue moving, dodging, blocking with shields, and creating and casting spells. It is really cool, but I am interested to see what the final game comes out with and if it uses this exact same locomotion, because if the battles get more intense, it could get harder. Gravity League is one of these games that really pulls you in because of its simplicity of controls and the fact that it plays reliably and the physics in it really work. They advertise this game as the future of ball games, but really what this is like a 3-dimensional Pong or air hockey even, where you are pitted against an opponent and you are knocking a ball back and forth. There's different types of gloves, so you can have ones that hit the ball square and straight on, ones that you can put some spin on it, or even ones that you can block it with. Being a free-to-play game, of course, it does feature in-game currency, but this can be earned through the game by actually playing against other people. This game did launch several months ago, but with some recent updates, people have said it has really changed what the game is like and made it worth playing. With that, it's got 52 ratings, with some of those older ones still holding it down at about a 4.2 rating. Recent ratings saying it's one of the best, can replace your daily workout, and even some of the 5 stars saying the game was very meh around a month ago, but since then there's been an update that fixed a lot of the issues, added power shots, and there's actually all kinds of abilities you can unlock, whether it's a super fast power shot you're returning at your opponent, or one where you hit and it splits into 2 balls to confuse them. And although a lot of the lower reviews were before the newer updates, some of them did say things like it's not the worst, but saying the game's unfair because eventually they did have to pay for better equipment to play the game more, and people just saying it's not great. Personally, after playing it, the problem I would say right now is it just doesn't have enough people in it yet to always get a multiplayer match, but they did have bots that you can play with and go up against, and I had a good time and I was getting real sweaty playing it. I would definitely say Gravity League is one on this list that you should check out. Thanks to Joss VD West for suggesting to check out some other games like Disc Wars, which are actually games from a game we checked out called Remio, which is a social app that has different minigames, and they've published some of their biggest minigames now as their own games on App Lab. Disc Wars immediately looked like it was going to scratch the itch that was left after Meta killed off Echo VR, although when you get into this game you see it is completely different than Echo VR. There's no sort of zero gravity locomotion, but instead you have a disc in each hand that as you hold down they get bigger, so they're easier to throw at your opponents and hit them. But also the other mechanic, when you throw a disc and then you press the trigger again, it brings you to where that disc was thrown. So your locomotion is tied to your disc, and taking down your enemies is also tied to it. This adds a degree of strategy and more of a teleportation style movement to try and get out of the way when someone's trying to hit you with their disc. And with this being very new, it's only got 1 rating so far that says it's 5 stars, no written words. Personally, if you're looking for some kind of competitive style gameplay, I would say this might be something to check out, but keep in mind, as it is free, as it's a derivative from Remio, the lobby that I got into was definitely all young people, and some of them of course being louder and straight up trying to annoy other people in the lobby. But when you actually got the disc to work the way you wanted to, it was really satisfying. Joss had also recommended another game from Remio, Wingit, which I had a little bit more fun trying out. It's a game where you are a bird and you flap your wings to fly up, you hold them out to glide, but beyond that there wasn't really much to do, it felt like. It says there's aerial dogfights and racing. Because it was suggested, I'll leave a link to check it out too if you're into that, but it's kind of suffers from the same problems as Disc Wars of a young audience, and this one actually has 11 ratings with a pretty low rating of 2.7 stars. One person said it was amazing and the other person said it just stopped at the main screen. If you try either of these and you find they work really well, let me know in the comments. Maybe Remio is going to start publishing a lot of these free mini games like this if they've been successful on their platform. Glitch Moba is definitely for people out there who've been looking for that MOBA in a cyberpunk type universe. This game advertises 5v5 battle battles that are going to test your strategy, your teamwork, and your skills. And with pretty reliable and interesting gunplay mechanics and maps, this game did actually have me really intrigued after getting in and trying it. But if you really want to find the community, you're going to probably have to join their Discord and watch for when people playing it, because I was never able to find a match with other people. I was still able to go in and go up against the other enemies' robots, seeing my robots also come in and helping me fight. This felt like it had a lot of promise, but something you definitely need some friends. And if you're someone who has a group of friends out there, 10 people that can all get this free on their quest and play it together, I think it could be really fun. That said, there hasn't been enough people yet to try it since it just launched to give it any reviews, sitting at 0 reviews. So if you do find enough people or you join the Discord, definitely leave them a review so other people know what to expect. But it's got me curious to see where the future of Glitch MOBA goes. Thanks to M. Archer for bringing up Pool VR, which I actually hadn't heard of. This is a pool game where they're trying to provide the most realistic and intuitive pool game out there. Sets you in this unique 1920s theme bar, although they have a projector that projects onto the wall any YouTube video you want to watch, so definitely not quite 1920s there, but it's pretty cool once you actually get used to the control style. You're able to move around and even through the pool table, so a little less fails of people trying to lean over on a pool table at least.
Wow. What are you going for, the 6? Oh, wrong. Jesus.
But it also has a trajectory that it shows on the screen that makes it almost too easy if you have the trajectory on, because you can see exactly when you hit a ball where it's going to go. The trajectory is optional in the settings, and I would suggest turning it off if you want a bit more of a realistic pool experience. With that said, we've got a lower score here, 3.4 stars of 27 ratings. Some people saying it's the best pool game they've ever tried. Some people saying it's just terrible. Pretty split back and forth all between those 5 and 1 stars. This is an early version, and they mention here the plans they have for the future with more AI opponents, online cooperation. It's definitely a work in progress. I would say for now, if you love pool, you want to get in and try this out, put on some of your favorite YouTube videos in the background. It's an interesting experience to try, whether you're going up against the bots or if you can actually get in and do multiplayer. But I'm hoping that the future of this game becomes a much better pool game, because I feel like there hasn't been any pool game in VR I've played yet that really nailed the feeling and made me want to keep playing it. Machine Shop Simulator is one of those games like Power Wash Simulator or other ones like Surgeon Simulator, where it's oddly satisfying to do regular menial tasks in VR. This has only been out for a few days so far, so it's got 0 reviews, but you get into this game. Probably the worst thing about it is the soundtrack they've chosen. Luckily, you can cycle through and kind of pick some stuff, but there is some awful country music you have to deal with until you find some other okay version. Then accept missions that are going to earn you money towards upgrading your shop, and then you control a lathe with 2 hands that has a giant block of wood on it in front of you. That wood's spinning, and you just move that lathe in to craft it towards what people have ordered. The closer your percentages, the more the money you're going to get. I had fun playing through this. I was able to get 100% accuracy on most of them. It's really not hard since you can control the dials easily with each hand. I do wish there was a free mode where you could just turn it off and craft whatever you want. You still can craft whatever you want, but there's always going to be that underlying block that's showing you what you're supposed to be crafting, and it's kind of in the way if you're trying to make some sort of ridiculous artwork. If you like the idea of machining, or if you know somebody who is a machinist like this or a woodworker, this might be a fun one to put them in and see what they think of it. But it was oddly satisfying to just sit there and cut up this wood, as long as you can get past the soundtrack. Spiderfall at first glance might look like it's something that's trying to be another sort of gorilla tag, but somehow it's worse. In Spiderfall, you are jumping down onto platforms that are going to slowly fall. You're trying to shove the other spiders off, collect webs so that you can shoot around and stay on longer than them. And if you can get past all of the screaming that's going on in the lobby when you try it, then you might find something here that's worth a little bit of time. With that said, the only 3 people who have rated it have given it about a 3.7 stars. One person saying it's really addictive, another person saying this will not be a helpful review. This is definitely a game that hits the box of being free, being slightly different, but reminding me a little too much of all the other Gorilla Tag clone style ones that are out there. But for those of you who are looking for those, here's another one to check out. Shadows3310 suggested that we check out Project A.R.M. This is definitely a short tech demo that someone made to kind of show off the Project A.R.M that they were working on, where one of your arms has a machine on it that you can control, touch, and change the different hand layouts of what you're doing. Whether you're holding your gun in your hand, you have a magnet or a light on it, there's some random puzzles in front of you that you have to find the switches and switch them before time runs out. You could probably play through this whole thing in about 5 minutes. Honestly, it gives you 10, but I don't think you'll need it. The only thing that might slow you down is moving the things around with the magnet. Can be a little difficult. If you're someone that likes checking out tech demos that people have made or some of these smaller experiences, it's made by Bamboo Studios, which which sounded familiar, but it seems like the only thing I can find they'd made was this Project A.R.M. If you try it out though, give them a review on there because no one else has yet. Out for just about 2 weeks now, Wicked Balloons is kind of a weird one. You're in this world where balloons are terrible and are trying to take over and steal all of the cute cats, and it is your job to take out these balloons and free the cats. Something that feels like it was definitely made by a very small team, potentially even one person. The trailer makes me think that maybe a young person actually made this, but since then they've gotten some voice actors to help them out with the voices in the game. It's basically a wave shooter where you have a magic wand in one hand and a sword in the other. That wand can smack balloons around or pull them towards you, and then you're stabbing or slicing them with the sword in your other hand trying to get a high score. Only 2 ratings so far, although we know Goddess Robin, who is very reliable and very helpful, gave that 5-star, said a cute little game and it's free. There's a brief tutorial and it's entertaining for all ages, and then the other person just save the kitties. If you love saving cats, if you love seeing these really small indie projects, Wicked Balloons could be one to check out. I had a fun time for the few minutes I played, but I definitely won't ever be playing it again unless it gets some big update or changes. Thanks to Tommy Nelson 9492 for suggesting Hazard Us VR. This is a game best played with a group of friends, and if it's your funniest group of friends, you'll probably have a really good time playing it. You are these ragdoll colorful characters that end up basically dying a lot. You have to move through these different puzzle worlds, but there's tons of things that are going to kill you, and the ragdoll physics of you dying when your friends are behind you watching is really funny actually. Although this game does call itself a demo, it seems to be the early access version of it, and it has 13 ratings, giving it about a 4.4 rating. None of those are 1 or 2 star, they're all 5, 4, or 3. People saying, well, it does need more levels, others saying the movement is just horrible, and some people saying it's very fun and amazing. The reason they're talking about the movement is it's a weird movement style. You don't use the analog sticks, you grab the world with each controller and pull the world towards you to move around, and that is probably the hardest thing about the game. That said, this definitely is the kind of game that for content creators who play games with their friends and need something free to play, this would make some hilarious videos, and I'd love to see them. With all that, we have covered so many free games on the Quest 2. We've got more lists here, and here for you to check out if you want to find other free games, especially ones that might be a little bit more fun, but we're trying to cover all of them at this point, and we're getting there. And I want to say thank you once again for your suggestions, for coming out watching the videos, coming closer and closer to 50,000 subscribers. So thank you so much, and I will see you in another reality.